Ladies and gentlemen, Rebirth has been out and back, which means it is time to rate the meta loadouts that you should be using based on the nerfs and buffs that have come to Warzone Season 3. Now, I'm gonna give you a few seconds to touch that subscribe button and drop a like on the video. I appreciate y'all in the Noti gang. Y'all are the cutest of the bunch. Now, the reason that you guys clicked this video, these are my top 5 long-range weapons that you need to be using based on not just stats, but also the intangibles that come from multiple reps on both the big map and Rebirth. Now, coming in at number 5, Mr. Reliable. Let's get this out of the way. If you have watched any tournaments, or even if you've played in lobbies where there are a couple of pros or streamers, you know that most of them are still running that Ram 7 because of its ease of use. And honestly, even after all the nerfs that they have tried to give this gun at the 40-meter mark, the TTK is still just too favorable. And when you're talking about something like Rebirth ranked, most of your fights, let's face it, are going to be within that range. So this is still a pretty viable weapon. This is the loadout that we've been rocking. Now, this is pretty much the traditional Ram 7 build that everyone's been running. The only difference that you'll notice is that I went with the compensated flash hider, and this is going to be personal preference. Feel free to play around with it. Obviously, I was bored, but the traditional recoil pattern for the Ram is going to go up and to the right, which is pretty straightforward and very easy to use, which is also why everybody's still rocking it competitively. Next, coming in at number 4, we have the BP50, and this thing does not get as much love as I believe it should. This thing is an absolute beam in both solos and duos, and honestly, I've been pulling it out more and more in Rebirth as either a sniper support or as my full main AR, just due to the fact that everything seems to be in close quarters and it has great TTK at range. Now, this should be a favorite for most controller players because of the low recoil that makes it very easy to control and manage even without that rotational aim assist kicking in. Now, number 3 has grown on me over the last week. I was a bit skeptical, but after trying the iron sight build for this one, I can truly say that I see where the stats are coming from, and that is going to be the Zoa. Now, this one's going to have 2 different builds because I know that some of you guys will prefer having a long-range weapon with the sight. But again, because we are talking about Rebirth Island, this iron sight build has more aim assist, so you get the benefit of making sure that you don't lose your close quarter fights with the high TTK at distance. So for those of you guys that are my aggressive players, the iron sight build is the one that you should try first. Now, a tip for all of your iron sight builds is to get a skin that is going to be very bright. This will just help with tracking because you don't have that red dot or any type of sight. Now, for this build, a couple of things to note. The TYLRA muzzle is going to help with that recoil control, specifically the horizontal one, because the Zoa has a recoil pattern that's more of an S, and this is going to mitigate that problem for you. Currently, based on any true game data reports, the Zoa is the fastest TTK on the map right now. If you want to try something with the sight, I would try the Jack Glassless Optic. Now, we do have to sacrifice one of the attachments, and I would do the high velocity round mags. Now, I didn't want to sacrifice anything to help through the recoil, and this is just going to help with that beam effect. Now, the most talked about long range option that is available right now is the new Morse Sniper, and that is because it happens to be hit scan. And for those of you guys that remember the SPR when it first dropped, this feels very, very similar, and it has been some of the most fun I have had sniping since Verdansk. For those of you guys that don't know what hit scan is, it means that it could one-shot headshot at any range of the map because of its charge barrel that allows it to have a bullet velocity of almost 1700 meters per second. Now, this is going to be the last weapon that has 2 variants because I know that some of you guys will want a more traditional build for your sniper, so I have 2 available for you. Now, the first build is going to have that barrel that I was talking about, the photonic charge barrel. This is going to help with that damage range, and if you look at the numbers, this is the reason that you're able to one shot at any distance. You do have to charge it up though. Again, This is gonna be for the people that play that big map still. On Rebirth, I don't believe that you truly need it. So here's the second build for that. This is by far the most exciting gun that was added so far in season 3 until we have that mid-season update and we get the bow. Now, last but not least, coming in at number 1, we have the Bruin. Now, this may be a little biased because that was my favorite gun in Verdansk, so there might be a nostalgic factor to it, but you can't deny that you don't have to be a pro to absolutely cross-map a full team on either the big map or Rebirth Island. Now, the recoil pattern for the Bruin is similar to the Ram in that it's very straightforward, but instead of to the right, for the Bruin, it goes to the left. This makes it very easy to control, and again, it's the reason that it's such a beam at distance. And in exchange with the 60 round mag, even though you lose a little bit of mobility, added rounds goes a long way, so you can't count this loadout out. Now, I've tried both variants, one with the Cairo optic and then the other one with the Jack glassless optic. Both of them are viable. It all depends on personal preference. Feel free to play around with it a little bit, but this by far is meta on both maps. If you guys took any screenshots of the build thus far, make sure you are subscribing. We have another one coming soon for the short range guns, so stay tuned. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys out there. Peace, love, positivity. Mwah.